Look around you. Look past the lights, past the noise, past the endless distractions that demand your eyes but starve your soul. What do you see? We are living in the age of the breach. We walk through cities that have no walls. We inhabit lives that have no gates. The modern world calls this freedom. It calls this progress. But the Spirit knows better. The Spirit knows that a city without walls is not free. It is merely waiting to be sacked. You feel it, do you not? A subtle trembling beneath your feet. A vibration in the air that suggests something vital has snapped. You wake up tired. You fight battles that seem to have no beginning and no end. You pour your energy into vessels that cannot hold water. There is a sickness in the modern heart, and it is not a sickness of weakness. It is a sickness of disorder. We have traded the sacred architecture of the soul for a sprawling, shapeless chaos. We have removed the boundaries. We have silenced the watchmen. And now, as the shadows lengthen over the history of man, we find ourselves standing in the rubble of what should have been a fortress. Do not look away from the ruin. A warrior does not pretend the wall is standing when the stones are scattered in the dust. He looks at the breach. He measures the damage. Because it is here, in the dust of your own failures, that the first truth must be spoken. And from the ancient Psalter, a question rises like smoke from a burning city. It is not a question of comfort. It is a question of survival. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? Psalm, chapter 11, verse 3. If the order is gone, what is left of the man? If the structure of the divine is broken within you, how can you expect to stand against the storm that is gathering on the horizon? Chaos is not a passive state. Chaos is an active enemy. It does not simply exist. It encroaches. It invades. Like water seeking a crack in the hull, chaos seeks the disorder in your spirit, and it has found it. So here is the question that lies upon the threshold of this moment. Look at the disorder in your life. Look at the drift. Look at the compromise. Do you accept this ruin as your fate? Do you make your home in the debris, telling yourself that this is all there is? Or do you have the courage to pick up the first stone? You can turn this video off. You can return to the anesthesia of the world. But if you stay, if you listen, you are agreeing to a labor. You are agreeing to the sweat, the weight, and the war of restoration. Choose now, the rubble or the restoration. To restore order, we must first understand how the ruin occurred. A fortress does not collapse overnight. A vineyard does not turn to thorns in a single hour. The collapse is slow. It is a whisper before it is a scream. It begins with the sleep of the watchman. You see, the enemy did not storm your gates with battering rams. He did not need to. He simply waited for you to leave the post. He waited for you to value comfort over vigilance. He waited for you to believe the lie that peace means the absence of war, when in truth, peace is only secured by the readiness for war. We are a generation of men who have forgotten the duty of the gatekeeper. We have allowed thoughts to enter our minds that have no business in the sanctuary. We have allowed habits to take root in our days that choke the life from our purpose. We look at our lives and wonder why we feel hollow, why we feel unaligned. We chase success. We chase pleasure. We chase the approval of a world that is passing away. And yet, the hunger remains. There is a terrifying diagnosis for this state. It was written centuries ago to a people who were busy building their own houses while the house of God lay in ruins. The prophet speaks into our modern malaise with a precision that cuts like a surgeon's knife. Consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat but do not have enough. You drink but you are not filled with drink. You clothe yourselves, but no one is warm. And he who earns wages earns wages to put into a bag with holes. Haggai, chapter 1, verses 5 through 7. A bag with holes. Is this not the biography of the modern man? We consume, but we are empty. We scroll, but we are uninformed. We connect, but we are lonely. We work, but we build nothing eternal. This is the curse of disorder. Energy without direction is not power. It is entropy. Zeal without structure is not fire. It is wildfire. It burns the house down instead of warming the hearth. You have been sowing seeds in a field you have not plowed. You have been pouring wine into skins that are cracked. And until you stop, until you stand still and look at the architecture of your own ruin, you will continue to bleed out. The spiritual order is not about being good in the eyes of a soft society. It is about being aligned. It is about structural integrity. Imagine a cathedral. It stands not because the stone is pretty, but because the stone is placed according to a law. Gravity pulls down, the arch pushes back. Tension, balance, order. Your soul was designed to be a cathedral, a dwelling place for the divine presence. But look at the floor. It is covered in the dust of triviality. Look at the altar. It is cold. Look at the walls. They are breached by the appetites of the flesh. We have become the dry bones of Ezekiel's vision, scattered, disjointed, lacking the breath of command. We are structurally unsound. And a structurally unsound man cannot carry the weight of glory. He cannot carry the weight of his own family. He cannot carry the cross. When the pressure comes, and it will come, the disordered man buckles. Not because he is weak, but because he is unaligned. How then do we rebuild? How do we take this heap of burnt stones and turn it back into a stronghold? The answer is not in meditation alone. It is not in passive prayer alone. The answer is in construction amidst conflict. There is a dangerous lie that says you must wait for the battle to end before you can begin to build your life. You say, when things calm down, I will get my order back. When the enemy stops attacking, I will pray. When I have more time, I will discipline myself. This is the language of the defeated. The enemy will never stop attacking. The chaos will never politely recede to give you space. You must build in the presence of your enemies. You must restore the order while the arrows are still flying. We look to the great archetype of the warrior builder, Nehemiah. When he returned to the holy city, he did not find a welcome party. He found mockery. He found threats. He found conspiracy. The enemies of order surrounded the city like wolves, waiting for a moment of weakness. Did Nehemiah stop the work to fight? No. Did he stop the fight to work? No. He did what the spiritual warrior must do in this generation. He fused the labor with the war. The scripture records a posture so fierce, so disciplined, that it should send shivers through every man who claims to follow the way. Those who built on the wall and those who carried burdens loaded themselves so that with one hand they worked at construction and with the other held a weapon. Nehemiah, chapter 4, verse 17. See them in your mind's eye, dust on their faces, sweat on their brows. In the right hand, the trowel, laying the mortar, setting the stone, restoring the order. In the left hand, the sword, drawn, sharp, ready to kill anything that threatened the work. The sword and the trowel. This is the dual nature of the restoration. You cannot just be a builder. If you only build, the enemy will come in the night and tear it down because you have no defense. You are naive, and you cannot just be a warrior. If you only fight, you will have a victory in a wasteland, with no walls to shelter your children. You are a barbarian. You must be both. The trowel is your daily discipline. It is the waking early. It is the study of the word. It is the silence. It is the service to your family. It is the humble, boring, repetitive placing of one stone upon another. The sword is your refusal. It is your no. No to the lust that knocks at the door. No to the apathy that whispers in your ear. No to the distraction. You build the virtue, and you kill the vice, simultaneously, relentlessly. This is the refiner's fire. Do not think that restoring order will be a peaceful process. Order is violent to chaos. Light is violent to darkness. When you begin to set your life in order, the chaos will scream. The old habits will fight for their survival. They will not go quietly into the night. You must be willing to hold the weapon. Stop. Right now. Listen to the silence for a moment. Look at your hands. What are you holding? In your life right now, are you only swinging the sword, fighting endlessly, angry at the world, but building nothing of substance? Or are you only holding the trowel, working blindly, naive to the spiritual war that is dismantling your progress behind your back? Identify the missing tool. Is it the discipline to build, or the courage to defend? Without both, the wall does not rise. Grip them now, both of them. The work continues. As the walls begin to rise, we face a new danger, the danger of the crooked wall. In our haste to rebuild, in our desperation to feel secure, we are tempted to build according to our own eyes. We say, "This feels right." We say, "This is my truth." We say, "God understands my heart," as an excuse to lay stones that are out of alignment. But a wall that is not plumb will eventually fall. Gravity is unforgiving. Spiritual reality is unforgiving. You cannot build a life of order on a foundation of relative truth. You cannot build a holy temple with the bricks of compromise. There must be a standard. There must be a vertical line that does not move, does not bend, and does not care about your feelings. We need the plumb line. In the vision of the prophet, God does not come with a sword first. He comes with a measuring tool. He comes to reveal the geometry of holiness. Behold, the Lord stood on a wall made with a plumb line in his hand. And the Lord said to me, "Amos, what do you see?" And I said, "A plumb line." Then the Lord said, "Behold, I am setting a plumb line in the midst of my people." Amos, chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. The plumb line is the absolute word of God. It hangs vertical from the throne of heaven to the dust of the earth. It judges the wall. It shows you exactly where you are leaning toward the world, where you are leaning toward pride, where you are leaning toward despair. The plumb line offends us. It insults our ego. We want to believe that our crooked wall is straight. We want to believe that our little sins are part of the design. But the plumb line is silent and sovereign. It simply hangs there. And by its existence, it exposes the lie. To restore spiritual order is to submit to the plumb line. It is the painful process of tearing down what you built in arrogance and rebuilding it in humility. It is the narrow gate. It is the discipline of alignment. Order is not about restriction. It is about capacity. Only the aligned vessel can hold the wine. Only the straight pillar can hold the roof. When you align your will with the divine will, you are not losing your freedom. You are gaining the strength of the cosmos. You are tapping into the structural integrity of heaven itself. When you walk in the Spirit, you are walking in the groove of reality. When you walk in the flesh, you are grinding against the gears of the universe. That is why the sinner is always exhausted. He is fighting gravity. But the man of order, he flows, he stands, he has been measured, he has been corrected, and he has been set straight. We stand now at the precipice of history. The horizon is dark, the nations are shaking. The systems of man are trembling like leaves in a winter storm. Look at the headlines. Look at the culture. Everything that can be shaken is being shaken. The financial orders, the political orders, the moral orders, they are all crumbling into the sea. And you? Will you crumble with them? When the floodwaters rise, will they find you panic-stricken, clutching at the debris of a disordered life? Or will they find you standing? This is the ultimate purpose of the restoration of spiritual order. It is not for your happiness. It is not for your best life now. It is for your endurance. It is so that when the world catches fire, you remain as a sanctuary, a house on the rock. The storm does not ask for your permission. It tests your foundation. And the voice of the apostle rings out across the centuries, warning us of the final shaking and promising us the only thing that survives. Now this, yet once more, indicates the removal of those things that are being shaken, as of things that are made, that the things which cannot be shaken may remain. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 27. That the things which cannot be shaken may remain. That is the goal. To become unshakable. To forge a spirit so aligned with the eternal, so disciplined by the sword and the trowel, so corrected by the plumb line, that no news, no tragedy, no temptation can knock you off the cornerstone. This is the mandate for the awakened man. This is the call. We are not called to save the world from its chaos. That is the King's work when he returns. We are called to be the outposts of order in the midst of the chaos, to be the light that the darkness cannot comprehend and cannot overcome, to be the men who stand when others flee, to be the men who build when others destroy, to be the men who pray when others curse. The restoration begins now, not tomorrow, not next week. It begins in the silence of your own heart. It begins with the next decision you make. The breach is open. The enemy is watching. But the master builder is also watching. He has given you the tools. He has given you the blueprint. He has given you his spirit. The chaos ends here. The order returns with you. The world opens its mouth like a lion. Do not walk into it as a sheep. Walk into it as a son of the Most High. Make the vow. Restore the altar. Mend the wall. Sharpen the sword. Let the world shake. Let the foundations of the earth tremble. You are built on the rock of ages. Stand.